Hello. So I had my bilateral carpal tunnel surgery today. I wanted to just talk about the experience a little bit. So they said to be there at 9:15 at the surgery center at Bone and Joint. My wife took me. We got there at about 8:45. And everything moved pretty quick. I did my check-in, and at 9:15 they called me back. In the back, the nurse, verified allergies, current medications, all that good stuff. They started an IV in my right arm. At first, the nurse was going to put it in my foot. She wasn't sure which arm to put it in, but the doctor came back and told her to put it in the antecubital region in my right arm. I was really anxious, of course, and I told the doctor and the anesthesiologist. They were originally going to do a local where I would be awake, but when I told the anesthesiologist that I was really nervous, he said that, oh, don't worry, we'll just make you really, really sleepy. So they started the IV, of course. The nurse, or the anesthesiologist's nurse, put in some medicine, and within like 2 seconds, I started feeling very relaxed. And I remember getting wheeled back to the OR. I remember the room was really bright. But long before they got started, I was out. I don't remember anything. Maybe it took about a minute to kick in. So I don't remember them cleaning the area or any of that stuff. The nurse did have to shave my hand and forearm a little bit because I'm really hairy. The incision, from what the doctor told me, is just right about here. And I'm not hairy there, but I guess just to be safe, they shaved kind of that area. I don't know, whatever. I'm in no pain. I should probably lead with that. Of course, I'm still feeling the effects of the anesthesia. So they did the local anesthesia, and they also, I forgot what they called it, whatever they put to make me more sleepy. It wasn't a full general anesthesia, but it made me really out of it. Apparently I gave them a little bit of a hard time, I'm told. I guess when I was on my way to being asleep, I was flailing. I have no memory of that. I guess I was moving my arms. I know when I sleep, I toss and turn, so I'm wondering if I fell asleep and I was just kind of moving around. But they had to give me some more anesthesia to knock me out. I do have sleep apnea, right? And they were saying my airway was collapsing during surgery. So they didn't intubate me, but they had to do it's almost like a partial intubation. It just kind of goes down the back of the throat. So my throat's very sore. That's the only thing I'm feeling right now. My throat's just sore. My hands are pretty swollen, or they were at least. I've been icing since I got home. I don't know if you can tell. So we got there at 8:45. We were home by noon. I remember waking up around, I think, 11:30. My wife came back. The nurse brought her back. As far as what I'm feeling, I can tell the anesthesia is starting to wear off, but again, no pain. My left hand, it's not totally numb, but it feels a little bit on the numb side. Impaired sensation, I would call it. And my right hand, the 4 fingers were the same. But right after surgery, I couldn't feel my thumb at all, which is weird. Now it's kind of on par with everything. I have more feeling. But not like the carpal tunnel symptoms. I think it's more of the anesthesia working. I have virtually zero grip strength and pinch strength. Not that I'm trying to do anything extreme, but like when we got home, I was starving because I was NPO after midnight. So my wife made me some pancakes. And I can move, no problem. I can touch thumb to finger, all of them, but I can't get it to pinky, which is fine. I'm not going to strain myself. But I couldn't hold a fork. Like, I can do the motion, I just can't hold it. There's just no strength, right? Not pain. So we did a little technique we do, like in skilled nursing, with like neuro patients. I just built up the handle, and now it's easy to grasp. I don't have to squeeze very hard. I had a cup of coffee when I got home. I'm having a cup of hot tea now just to try to soothe the sore throat. all in all, it was a fine experience. I was so anxious about being awake and this and that, but I don't remember anything. So I'm happy. So symptom-wise, my left hand was always worse than my right, and the nerve conduction showed that the left hand was a bit worse than the right. The doctor said as he was in there, looking in there, he could see how compressed everything was. So the left hand was visibly worse, the ligament and the tendons. He could just see the compression. He didn't make a comment about the right, though, so I guess the right's not as bad. We haven't got my pain meds yet. We're still waiting on the pharmacy, but I'm planning to take those pretty religiously these first 2 or 3 days. I don't know what they prescribed yet. I'll let you all know in my next update. I'm not big on painkillers. I don't like it. They usually make me nauseous. I don't like feeling loopy. But I do want to stay on top of it. One, because I don't want to be in pain. But two, that'll help me do some more kind of light therapy right now. That's going to help swelling, right? So I'm really just making fists, letting go. I'm doing kind of a light stretch just to get to neutral. No overstretch, nothing crazy right now. What else? I had to use the restroom as soon as I got home. I plan to share every detail because I think it's important if someone else is going to go through this. I can give you an idea. I'll tell you bluntly, I've not had to poop yet. I will share how I go about cleaning myself. Not in too much detail, but just to let you know how it works. So I've peed like 3 times since I've been home. I'm just wearing gym shorts. The first 2 times I went, I was trying to like hook the waist of my pants on my thumb and just push down. I couldn't do it. And I can't really describe it. It's not that it's painful. I'm not comfortable doing that. I don't know the best way to say it. Pulling my pants up was very easy. I don't know if I said, I sat down. I'm not going to try to stand or aim or anything. It's too much right now. Pulling my pants up, I just kind of hooked my fingers around the waist, and it was really easy. The third time I went to the bathroom, I kind of figured out a trick to where I can remove my pants. The pants are a little baggy, but I can't quite hook the waist and the side. But if I reach around my back, the pants are a little looser, and I'm able to kind of hook and then slide my hands to the side and push down. No pain or discomfort. I'm obviously trying to avoid a motion that would kind of splay my hand, if that makes sense. Like if I put my thumb out to the side, because that would put some tension on the stitches. And that's really the only fear. The doctor's, that and then the 5-pound weight limit. But the doctor said no movement's going to hurt it otherwise. So I'm being cautious. I'm trying to do some light things. I've been icing since I got home. After I ate, I laid down in bed. My wife got me comfortable. I had my arms propped up above my heart. It's going to help with swelling. And then I've been icing 30 minutes on, 30 minutes off, pretty much around the clock. I'm in that little gap now where I'm off the ice. So when I'm on the ice, I just set my hands on the ice. I kind of set them on top for about 20 minutes, and then I slide them under for about 10, just because when they're on top, I don't feel like my fingers are getting it. And of course, this area is going to be the most important for swelling. However, my fingers are swollen too, so I'm just trying to hit all the areas. When I'm on my 30 minutes off, that's where I'm doing my little fists. Nothing crazy, just like that. I'll do about 10, I kind of rest. When I was laying down, I'll put my arms up just for a couple seconds, bring them back down, a couple seconds, because the gravity is going to help the venous return back to the heart, help with some of that swelling. And then I do some light stretching. I'll either do it like this, just to get to neutral. I'll do that a couple times. And everything still feels kind of tight. Of course, it's very swollen. And then sometimes I just kind of put it on my arm. That way I can get a little thumb action too. Just getting it to neutral. I'm not overstretching. It's not putting a strain on the stitches. Just light. I take bandages off on Friday. Of course, I can't get anything wet right now. The doctor did say that on Friday, or after I take the bandages off, that I can get the incision wet, which I thought that's not what he said before, but I'll get verification before I start getting my hands wet. I think I probably won't be able to go back to work quite as quickly as I thought, but that's something only time's going to tell. I can't know for sure. I'm kind of stubborn. I was kind of thinking I would go back to work really right at 4 weeks, but the doctor's saying now that the resistive therapy should really start at 4 weeks. So maybe week 5, maybe week 6. Again, it's just playing it by ear, and just not overstraining myself. So I'll keep y'all updated. I don't know if I mentioned this earlier. The anesthesia is starting to wear off. I'm starting to feel a little more. I'm in no pain, but I'm aware of the incision, if that makes sense. Like it almost kind of itches a little bit, maybe a little tingly, right, like skin surface level, but no pain. So I'll keep y'all updated. I'll probably do a video each day, day 1, day 2, day 3, and then I'll probably do like a week 1, week 2 kind of a deal. So, thanks.